EcoFlow have just given me the heads up that their Black Friday sale is incoming with the biggest discounts of the year. But the interest on my channel is just relentless. Now we are approaching 500,000 views on the various videos I've made about the EcoFlow Stream series. And the questions are just in their thousands. This one video alone, over 200,000 views. And it seems to go up by 1,000 or 2 every single day. And the questions are very repetitive. It's the same questions and concerns that get brought up no matter what angle I take on the hardware itself or the implementation of it. Everyone seems to have the same questions. So what I've done, copied all the comments, put it into AI, and I've asked it to summarize the top 10 frequently asked questions about the EcoFlow Stream according to you, the viewers of my channel. So if you're here to watch more content about solar panels and batteries and DIY solar and portable solar, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have got a lot of content in the works that you will not want to miss. And I'm just going to take a minute to run through them, and then at the end I'll show you the discount code that EcoFlow have prepared for the viewers of the channel, which is a generous discount code, and talk about how they are becoming increasingly good value, especially during this Black Friday sale. But anyway, I want to help you with some of the technical things and some of my personal experience from using the EcoFlow Stream series now for 4 or 5 months of the year. And I continue to use the Stream Ultra X to supplement my home needs. Okay, so question number 1 is, when will the plug and play solar be fully allowed or legal in the UK, similar to Germany? Well, your guess is as good as mine. There is a public consultation at the moment, and so we know it's something that the government is considering, but let's be honest, it's very, very low down their list of priorities. I don't know when the regulations may be relaxed in some way to allow that to happen. Okay, what are the specific UK wiring regulations? I have been through this in previous videos, but the comments keep coming up over and over and over. Ultimately, to do it legally, you need to have a qualified electrician do it for you. It cannot be connected through a 3-pin plug. Now, there's the debates about the safety for and against it, and whether a 3-pin plug is plenty safe enough. There's the debate over radial versus ring circuits and why that's an important factor in the UK. And then there's the important factor of RCD or RCBO or bidirectional protection. Ultimately, you need to speak to a qualified electrician if you want to do it legally and you want to meet the regulations. And of course, anything connected to the grid. This is a micro generation device, after all, whether it's connected to solar panels or not, even if it's just battery storage, you should complete a G98. It is a free form. Anyone can do it. You don't need to be a professional. You can submit that online. That should definitely be done. Okay. Blackout and backup power functionality. This one seems to be a huge concern for people. So the way that the EcoFlow Stream works is that it follows the grid. And so as soon as it detects that the grid has dropped, it will cut off the supply between the EcoFlow Stream unit and the circuit in your house. So it won't be feeding power to any other devices around your house, except for most of the EcoFlow Stream devices have their own plug sockets built onto the back of the units. Now, those can give you, depending actually on the configuration, they can give you 1200 watts. They might be able to give you more with a parallel link cable. Actually, I'll take that back because I did a lot of off-grid testing, and I think once the grid drops, then the parallel link cable doesn't work properly either. So you will be capped at 1200 watts during a blackout scenario, and whichever device you want to use needs to be plugged directly into the back of the EcoFlow Stream units. That may require a temporary extension lead or something for your fridge freezer, or you may be able to site the Stream so that it's always connected to those devices. Okay, so whole house backup, not possible with the Stream by itself. There are ways around that with other hardware, but no, the EcoFlow Stream will not give you whole house backup in a blackout. Okay, battery only time shifting, so time of use tariffs and charging on those time of use tariffs. Yes, easy to do. EcoFlow have now implemented more advanced functions and timers, and the app has improved so much in the last 5 or so months, or about 5 months since I first received the product. And so it's super easy to set timers, charge it, whatever your off-peak rate is overnight, and then consume that cheap electricity throughout the day when you need it most. Very easy. Grid, feedback control, and smart meter necessity. Now, these are often combined together in the comments and the questions, because I think the explanation on EcoFlow's website is very, very confusing. If you want to prevent the EcoFlow Stream feeding power into the grid, you will need one of their smart meter solutions, whether that's a third-party one, Shelly, or whether it's the directly EcoFlow branded one. You will need one of those. That's what monitors the power, either consumption from the house, or also the generation and export, and controls it and ramps the inverter up and down so that the EcoFlow Stream can just match the load of your house. So if you don't want to export any energy, you really need one of those meters. Now, in terms of completely preventing backfeed into the grid or export into the grid, that's not possible with any inverter. Inverters cannot instantly ramp up and down. So, if you quickly flick on and off light switches and all sorts of devices, TVs, sound systems, ovens, you name it, all of these devices, very few of them will give a constant power draw. And so the inverter within milliseconds will be ramping up and down, but that inevitably will lead to some energy being pushed into the grid. But it is a very, very, very small amount. And so it's not something that you should really worry about. It will just be a few watts. And if you in the app, once again, you can just toggle the little switch to either tell EcoFlow that you want to export to the grid, or tell EcoFlow that you don't want to export to the grid. Okay, is a small solar array, for example 100 watts on a balcony, actually worthwhile in the UK and Ireland, given the high frequency of cloudy days and less reliable sun, especially during winter months? Every case is individual, and there's just so many variables and so many assumptions. What I would say is all solar is good solar. Is there an arbitrary minimum requirement or a minimum figure that you should have a minimum of 1,000 watts? I don't know. I do know that if you've got 2 500-watt solar panels, you might be surprised what you can generate from just 2 solar panels on a balcony or on a fence, or however you're able to align that. And yes, especially it will generate loads in the summer and very little in the winter. But having them mounted vertically on a balcony really helps in the winter, because the sun is lower and you will get better generation than roof-mounted solar panels. Anyway, that will be completely up to you. There are tools in which you can model this. PVGIS is one. You can look on the Gary Does Solar YouTube channel. He has his own little tool as well. You may find that a little bit easier if you're new to it. He also has some videos walking you through how it's used, so it's very helpful. You may want to have a look. Safety concerns and live plug terminals. What is the specific safety risk associated with the male plug's terminals becoming live and exposed if the unit is unplugged while operating? It's impossible. I have tried my best to make a scenario in which a 3-pin plug attached onto an EcoFlow Stream becomes live, and I just couldn't do it. I tried all sorts of ways of plugging it into other devices, watt meters, and turning the plug socket on and off, and tried to withdraw the plug while it was still live. And there were basically the inverter, when it senses that the grid has dropped, it shuts down that feed out of the EcoFlow stream. It shuts down the inverter that is feeding, and you can hear it click, almost instantaneously, and then it drops the power. And I've used a few different ways of measuring this, and I even spliced into a lead and used a clamp meter to see exactly how quickly. But basically, no one is going to pull that plug out quick enough and get contact with any of the pins on the plug because of how brilliantly designed the UK plugs are and how safe they are. And there's no live exposed conductors, so it's very safe. So question number 7, cost, efficiency, payback period. I have covered this specifically in a previous video. I think best case scenario, you could pay off your system in 2 years if you're very lucky and you've got the perfect scenario for good generation and self-consumption and all of the stuff. I think ultimately, when comparing it against a professional, larger scale system, if you have got space to cover your roof in 12, 14 panels or something like that, then I think going professionally installed is going to be a much better bet for you. I think EcoFlow Stream is absolutely ideal for balcony solar, fence mounted solar, shed mounted solar, those kind of DIY projects. I think in some ways EcoFlow Stream is kind of unbeatable in what it can do. And then you could pay a professional electrician a couple of £100, a few £100 to connect it into the grid. You could do all the other work yourself. It's very, very easy. In terms of efficiency, I found that the EcoFlow Stream Ultra X, that's the big boy, the bigger brother of the smaller stream devices, I found it actually really impressive for efficiency. It's especially good on low loads, and I know that some of the critics say it's not good on low loads, but compared to my 8.8 kilowatt SunSync inverter, it's very good. If the house only needs 100 watts or 200 watts and that kind of base load cover, then I find the Stream Ultra X pretty efficient, much better than a bigger system. So of course, once again, loads and loads of variables. Okay, running specific appliances in an outage. Once again, this is very much related to the earlier one about blackouts. Can the unit be wired to run critical appliances? Yes, that is how EcoFlow recommends it be installed and wired. That any of your big appliances that you can with a 3-pin plug, have an EcoFlow Stream device between the house circuit and that appliance, and then you will have 1200 watts, which goes very far. You'd be surprised, most of your appliances will not draw over 1200 watts, with the exception of your oven, your kettle, and possibly your washing machine and dishwasher. But mostly you'll find that tumble dryers don't use more than 1200, toasters don't use more than 1200, microwaves don't use more than 1200, and PCs, etc. They all use, much, much less power. I've been surprised how many people have asked these questions, and I am not an experienced qualified electrician, so I definitely couldn't wade into this, but ultimately the feed into each individual flat is normally monitored individually. It normally has its own consumer unit, or at least its own circuit with circuit breakers. And so yes, you can install the energy monitor, the energy meter that EcoFlow sells with its CT clamp, to just monitor the energy consumption of an individual dwelling, an individual flat, and then the EcoFlow Stream could just ramp up and down according to that circuit, that apartment, that consumer unit. So yes, you can install it in a very kind of so yes, in theory, you could install it so that the EcoFlow Stream could cover a whole block of flats and every single dwelling, or it could cover just one single circuit. And you could set it up so it just covers your home office. It could just be whatever your computer's plugged into, a certain set of, it could even just be set up just to cover your lighting circuits. It is quite flexible and adaptable in that regard. Okay, system compatibility and alternatives. Get asked this all the time. If you want to connect to the grid and you want to connect to existing home circuits, then the EcoFlow Stream is currently the best bet that we have here in the UK. Around the world, there are other balcony solar options available, like the EcoFlow Stream. Most of those other manufacturers are choosing not to bring them to the UK because of our regulations at the moment. If you don't want to get it grid connected and you're happy with plugging your appliances directly into the plug sockets on a power station, power bank, whatever, EcoFlow offers brilliant alternatives with their Delta range, and other brands like Jackery was mentioned, and I've reviewed some others from Afery and Fossibot and Blackout. All of those, you can save yourself some money and you can save yourself some wiring complexity, and not needing a professional if you do go for those kind of portable power stations, those portable solar generators as some people are called. So that is really a decision for you, which way you want to go. Ultimately, for the hassle-free option, hook up your EcoFlow Stream and just let it do its thing. So customer service and long-term reliability. Now, this is something that I cannot comment on. Of course, I've had 3 of the Stream devices now for many months and they've been flawless. I've not had any issues with them. Customer service, it's difficult for me to give an informed opinion on that because, of course, I deal with the manufacturer and they, of course, want to keep me happy. And so I presume that I get some sort of VIP treatment, and I'm not naive enough to think that everyone else is getting excellent treatment all of the time. Reading lots of the comments, EcoFlow do seem to be slightly better than some of the other competitors like Blackout, like Jackery, like Fossibot. Some of those companies seem to have almost non-existent customer service. EcoFlow does have a very active user group, owners groups and forums, and so there's a lot of other people to help you, as well as directly with EcoFlow customer support. I hope that's been helpful as we've run through these 10 questions. I know it's been a lot of waffle, but if you are seriously looking into the EcoFlow Stream, then you probably would have taken the time to consider some of these questions and spend the time watching this video. The Black Friday sale starts on November the 8th. EcoFlow are promising this is the biggest discount of the year. They're saying some of their devices are going to be reduced by as much as 60%. They haven't sent me a full itemized list. There will be a discount code in the description below. But I would suggest that now is a great time to buy, as I've monitored the price of lots of these things in the past. When the sun is shining and everyone is thinking about solar, especially, April, May, June, that's when these prices go up because of supply and demand. These devices can also save you a huge amount of money through the winter because you can do that load shifting that people were asking about. What was that? Question number 3 about using time of use tariffs, charging overnight. So even when you're not generating solar, you can still charge off-peak and use that energy during a peak rate time. I just made this way more confusing than it needs to be. But instead of paying 30p throughout the day, you could be paying less than 10p, even if you're factoring in all conversion losses and everything else. So thank you for watching, everyone. Make sure you subscribe, and I hope to see you in a future video.